Hey guys, this is Ryan Typhlosion37, coach of the Pittsburgh Steelas, bringing you week 2 of WPL season 7. I'm facing off against Pesky Skitty, who was coach of the Ottowa Garchomp, and his draft is Thundurus, Therian, Ferrothorin, Primarina, Arcanine, Blastoise, Purugly, Megalodios, Gliscor, Buzzwole, Nihilego, and Glaceon. And my draft is Thundurus Incarnate, Necrozma, Goodra, Donphan, Gastrodon, Granbull, Megalopunny, Porygon 2, Amoonguss, Bisharp, and Darmanitan. So, every time I prep, and every time I tell people how I prep, I always say I make sure I have something for every Mon. But while I was prepping, I completely ignored Purugly, because honestly, I just didn't think it was very good, and I didn't bother to really look at what it did. Which ended up being a pretty big mistake for me, because you'll see in the match that it's actually a pretty big problem for my team. But I ended up bringing Thundurus Incarnate with Thunderbolt, Dark Pulse, Focus Blast, and HP Ice with Expert Belt. Necrozma is also Expert Belt with Photon Geyser, Heat Wave, Dark Pulse, and Rock Polish. Goodra is Offensive Assault Vest with Fire Blast, Draco Meteor, Sludge Wave, and Earthquake. Bisharp is Assault Vest with Night/Iron Head, Pursuit, Low Kick. If he doesn't have HP Fighting on Latios, I can switch in every time. Same thing with Nihilego. Amoonguss is Mixed Defensive with HP Fire, Sludge Bomb, Giga Drain, Foul Play. I believe I lived a +1 Psychic from Latios, I want to say. Maybe not +1. But then I had the rest in Fizz Def because I already had 2 AV Mons. And then Granbull I brought specifically for the Buzzwole, Play Rough, EQ, Fire Punch, Rest. I think I had just enough EVs to live 2 Adamant Poison Jabs, and then Resto, Chesto to heal up and switch in more, and then the rest was in attack. So, getting into the match, I'm going to lead with my Bisharp, as he leads with Purugly, and I look up what this thing does, and I see that it can learn Wake Up Slap, so I'm immediately going to switch into my Granbull, and he uses that to his advantage later. I go for Play Rough here as he switches into Thundurus, and I do a lot of damage, and then I'm just going to make the safe play into Goodra, and I don't want to risk taking a big hit, so I go back into my Granbull, and this is where my prep backfires, because I did not know Purugly got Defiant, and once he saw the Granbull with my switch in, he knew he could take advantage of it. Based on this return damage, I know he's banded, even with the +1. So I'm going to sack my Granbull because at this point I can't rest up on anything. And I just go into Bisharp and Pursuit because this Purugly is a huge problem and I needed damage. But now this Buzzwole is also a huge problem. So I go into my Amoonguss to try to take a hit. And he Ice Punches me and I can take that pretty well. He Ice Punches again and that's fine. I can Sludge Bomb, get a good amount of damage off. And from that damage I figure out he's pretty defensive. So he expects me to switch and goes into Purugly, and I don't want to let my Necrozma take damage because it's my win con. I go into Bisharp as he goes for a U-turn and goes back into Buzzwole, which is a huge problem. So I go into Amoonguss hoping he wouldn't Ice Punch, but he does, and then he freezes me. So I really have no reason to save this Amoonguss and risk Thaws later. So I'm going to sack it off, and I'm in a terrible position right now. I go into my Necrozma because he doesn't have a good switch in, and I believe I just fire off a Photon Geyser, which does a pretty good amount to this Latios. But he goes into Primarina as I go into Bisharp because I didn't want to take a Draco Meteor, and I'm just going to Iron Head, and from that damage I'm pretty sure he's defensive, but he goes for Toxic expecting me to switch, and then protects, so he's out of range of another Iron Head. And now I believe he goes back into the Buzzwole as I stay in an Iron Head again, which lets me know that he's definitely defensive. So now I need to figure out what to do. I just end up sacking my Bisharp, and I'm in a terrible position right now. So I'm going to go into my Necrozma, and he sacks off his Thundurus as I Photon Geyser again. I really wish I had clicked Rock Polish there, it would have put me in an amazing position. But now he goes into Latios, and clicks Calm Mind. So if I had Rock Polished as he switched into Thundurus, I would have been able to do enough damage with this Latios where he couldn't Roost Stall me. But now that he's at +1, I'm in a terrible position because he can just Calm Mind Roost and win the game. So I go for Dark Pulse, and I flinch him. This was a huge turning point in the match. If I didn't flinch him and he got off a Roost there, he just won. Like, there's nothing I could have done about it. But because I flinched him, it just shifted all the momentum. He did make the mistake of sacking it. I don't think that was smart because he could have potentially roosted up against my Necrozma later or something else if he forced me out, because I don't want to get Toxic right now, and I know Primarina can live. So I let my Thundy get Toxic. He misses the Toxic, which doesn't really matter that much. But I go into my Goodra now, expecting him to go into Nihilego, which I get right. And now I'm just going to Earthquake as he goes into Buzzwole. But this Goodra can keep pressuring everything on his team right now. He goes back into Nihilego as I just go for Fire Blast. And now I have no reason to predict because I can hit everything on his team. So I'm just going to click Earthquake as he stays in, and Nihilego dies. Now he goes into Purugly, and this thing's a problem. I want to get in Necrozma for free. So I think I click Earthquake here. I should have gone for Sludge Wave. That was a big mistake on my part. But it's not going to end up mattering that much. He goes for Protect here as I reveal Sludge Wave. And I'm just going to keep clicking Sludge Wave until he Moonblasts me and I die. But since he's defensive, I actually end up living the Moonblast. So I'm just going to get a kill here with Sludge Wave. And now I believe he goes into Buzzwole. No, he goes into Purugly and clicks U-turn. And then he goes into Buzzwole. And now I can just set up a Rock Polish with my Necrozma and get 2 more kills. So the Dark Pulse flinch on Latios is obviously huge. It cost him the match, and it's really unfortunate, but it is hacks and there's nothing you can do. Although it does really suck. So I'm now 2-0. He is 1-1 after this game. I'm going to link him in the description. Go check him out. Like and subscribe if you want to see more. My Twitter's also going to be in the description. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you next week.